Now let's move on to antiarrhythmic drugs. Arrhythmias are disturbances in cardiac rhythm. So they can either be tachyarrhythmias, in which there is increased automaticity after depolarization or impulse re-entry, or they could be bradyarrhythmias due to reduced automaticity or abnormal slowing or blockade of impulses. So various cardiac arrhythmias are atrial, flutter, atrial fibrillation, PSVT, ventricular tachycardia, VFib, torsades de pointes, AV block, etc. So then we have Vaughan-Williams classification. So remember it like this: NBKC. Okay, NBKC. So class 1 are N, so N, sodium channel blockers, Na blockers. So again we have 1A, 1B and 1C. 1A, they moderately depress phase 0 depolarization. So you have quinidine, procainamide, disopyramide, etc. 1B, B-lignocaine. Okay, so they have minimal effect on phase 0 depolarization, so lignocaine and mexiletine. 1C, they markedly depress phase 0 depolarization, so they cause phase 0 to fall markedly, so flecainide. Next, class 2 is B, so beta blockers, you have propranolol, atenolol, esmolol, etc. Next, class 3, so K, so potassium blockers, so amiodarone, dronedarone, sotalol, bretylium, which was considered as a pharmacological defibrillator, and ibutylate. Next, class 4, you have calcium channel blockers, so C, calcium channel blockers, so verapamil and diltiazem, and you also have class 5 comprising of other miscellaneous drugs such as adenosine. So moving on to quinidine, it is a class 1A antiarrhythmic drug. It's a sodium channel blocker. It blocks them in the open state. So quinidine, right? Queen. So while writing Q, you write it as O like this first. So it blocks the sodium channels in the open state. And then also quinidine is obtained. It's an alkaloid from cinchona bark. So cinchonism is one adverse effect. You can remember that later. So it blocks it in the open state. So write O like this. So it decreases automaticity, decreases AV blocks. Okay, AV nodal conduction velocity, and also O also resembles 0, right? So it decreases phase 0 depolarization. So out of all of this, what happens? It prolongs the ERP, effective refractory period, because it blocks both Na and K channels, okay? So Q, not only open state sodium block, it also blocks the K plus channels, okay? Next, AV node, it decreases the AV conduction velocity, and ECG, it prolongs the QRS complex and causes QT interval prolongation, so it causes torsades de pointes, okay? QT interval prolongation. QT, okay, it prolongs QT intervals, okay? So that's there. And also skeletal muscles, quinidine reduces skeletal muscle contraction. It also has anti-malarial properties, antipyretic properties, and also oxytocic activities. Okay, quinidine, you give it orally, right? So it is well absorbed from the GI tract. It is highly bound to plasma proteins, metabolized in the liver, and also it is excreted unchanged in the urine, 20%. So adverse effects, first you have torsades de pointes, obviously, and also thrombocytopenia. Remember, that is why you give it in malaria. Okay, so adverse effects, thrombocytopenia and torsades de pointes. So remember QT. So T, take tinnitus, it is a part of synchronism. Again, thrombocytopenia and torsades de pointes. Next, hepatitis and fever can rarely occur, and again synchronism can happen in large doses. So you have ear manifestations, so tinnitus, deafness, headache, then eye manifestations, so blurring of vision, diplopia, photophobia, etc. Okay. So drug interactions. So quinidine may potentiate the effects of neuromuscular blocking drugs. So that is why it reduces skeletal muscle contraction, right? So neuromuscular blocking drugs, it can potentiate the blocking action on the muscles. Then quinidine and beta blockers. So additive cardiac depressant effect may lead to cardiac arrest. Okay, potassium salts also, because quinidine also blocks the potassium channels. So additive cardiac depressant effect. Next, quinidine has a broad spectrum of antiarrhythmic activity, but it is not the drug of choice in any arrhythmia. Its use has declined because of adverse effects and availability of better drugs. Okay, it is useful in maintaining normal sinus rhythm in patients with atrial flutter or fibrillation. Okay, next, procainamide. So procainamide proclaims that it is not anti. Okay, so it is not anticholinergic, and also it is not anti-alpha. So it has no alpha blocking activity. Okay. And procainamide, if something is proclaiming something so much, then obviously the side effects are nausea and vomiting. Okay, in public you have to proclaim, right? So you get nauseous and you vomit in fear. And also hypotension, you stand, right? So hypotension, postural hypotension, whatever. So hypotension due to ganglion blockade by procainamide. And pharmacokinetics, so it is given orally, oral, and then it can also be given by IV and IM routes. And then the major metabolite is NAPA, N-acetyl procainamide. That means it is being metabolized in the liver by acetylation. Next, NAPA is excreted in the urine. So dose adjustment may be needed in patients with renal failure. Okay, next, what are the manifestations again? Proclaiming, so your BP falls, hypotension, torsades de pointes can also occur, nausea, vomiting, and also CNS. Hallucinations, psychosis, mental confusion, etc. And also long-term therapy can produce lupus-like syndrome with arthralgia and arthritis. So uses, it is used in ventricular arrhythmias associated with acute MI. Okay, not used in long-term therapy because of risk of lupus syndrome. Next, disopyramide. So sopir sounds like super, right? So it has super anticholinergic action, and also its actions are similar to that of quinidine. It is given orally. Okay, disopir oral. Okay, and also it is partly metabolized in the liver and partly excreted in the urine. And then it is mainly used for treatment of ventricular arrhythmias, and also sopir maintains super sinus rhythm in patients with atrial fibrillation or flutter. Next, what are the adverse effects? So anticholinergic side effects are urinary retention, especially in BPH, dryness of mouth, etc. Next, lignocaine. Lignocaine is a local anesthetic having antiarrhythmic activity. So what's the difference between anesthetic and antiarrhythmic? So anesthetic preparation contains preservative methylparaben, so it is not used as antiarrhythmic agent. Okay, next, lignocaine is 1B. Okay, next, lignocaine, take LAF in liver. So liver, when it is damaged, you need to monitor the maintenance dose, and also the volume of distribution and hepatic clearance are reduced in heart failure. So in heart failure, you need to decrease both loading and maintenance dose. Okay, next, pharmacological actions. So lignocaine blocks sodium channels in inactivated state. See, I for inactivated state. It has minimal effect on normal cardiac tissues. That means it should work only on abnormal tissues. Effect is prominent in ischemic tissues, so it decreases the automaticity of ectopic foci, and also it depresses the conduction in the depolarized or diseased tissue. Next, what are the pharmacokinetics? So lignocaine you can't give orally, that is why you give injection. So IV route is administered. Next, it is widely distributed, readily crosses the blood-brain barrier. So what is the point? Because it readily crosses the blood-brain barrier, adverse effects are mainly related to CNS, headache, drowsiness because it's an anesthetic, nystagmus, blurred vision, confusion, etc. Next, it is poorly bound to plasma proteins and rapidly metabolized in the liver and has a short plasma half-life of 1 to 2 hours. So the volume of again we discussed this point, right? In heart failure, you need to reduce both MD and LD. In liver failure, you only need to reduce MD. Next, drug interactions. So lig and lol, so lignocaine and propranolol. So lig concentration gets increased and lignocaine toxicity can occur. So what are the uses? So uses are lignocaine, it is used in emergency treatment of ventricular arrhythmias associated with distress, toxicity, MI, etc. Lignocaine is preferred in ventricular arrhythmias because it is less toxic, it is a short duration of action, it has a rapid onset, and also no action on AV node conduction velocity, so it does not intensify the AV block. So again, loading dose and maintenance dose are there, right? So loading dose, initial bolus is IV 1 to 2 mg per kg, later 1 to 4 mg per minute maintenance dose. Next, lignocaine is not useful in atrial arrhythmias because atrial action potentials are of very short duration. So Na plus channels are in the inactivated state for very brief period of time, and this works only on inactivated state, right? So it's not that much useful. Next, mexiletine. It is an analog of lignocaine and has similar actions. It is used again orally and parenterally in treatment of ventricular arrhythmias. Next, flecainide. Flecainide and propafenone, they are 1C antiarrhythmic drugs. They block the sodium channels in the open state. Okay, flecainide, for fly to fly into your mouth, so your mouth needs to be open, so open state. 1C drugs have the most potent blocking effect on sodium channels. They markedly depress phase 0 depolarization, they slow the conduction and prolong the PR interval. Propafenone also blocks the beta receptors. Okay, next, propafenone kind of sounds like propranolol, right? So it also blocks the beta receptors. Next, adverse effects. Both can exacerbate the arrhythmias and the CCF. Other adverse effects seen with propafenone are metallic taste, fine taste or metallic taste. Next, constipation, bradycardia and bronchospasm. So bradycardia, bronchospasm and beta effects, right? So bronchospasm, bradycardia, etc. For flecainide, see, if flies are going into your mouth, that means you're not seeing properly, you're not closing your mouth when needed, so blurring of vision is there with flecainide. So they're used in treatment of supraventricular arrhythmias. Next, both are given orally. And then beta blockers, propranolol, atenolol, esmolol, etc. They're used in tachyarrhythmias. So they're all class 2 antiarrhythmic agents. They block the effects of catecholamines of the heart. So what they do is, see, beta blockers, they depress the phase 4 depolarization. They decrease automaticity in SA node. They decrease conduction velocity in AV node. And they decrease the automaticity of ectopic foci. They prolong the refractory period. And also they are used in PSVT, that means they are used in the treatment of reentrant arrhythmias involving the AV node. They control ventricular latent flutter and fibrillation. Next, in high doses, propranolol has quinidine-like membrane stabilizing effect. So remember like this. So B, T, right? So BT, T means trum trum. So trum trum decreases. So velocity, AV nodal conduction velocity decreases. That means not AV node is being depressed. Then it is also depressing SA node. SA node, what it is depressing? Automaticity. Also ectopic foci. Next BT, right? So trum trum velocity decreases, and tori. So refractory period increases. Next, esmolol. It's a cardioselective beta blocker, beta 1 blocker with rapid duration and rapid onset and short duration of action. So IV esmolol is used for emergency control. E for emergency control of ventricular rate and atrial flutter and fibrillation. Okay, it is also highly effective for terminating an effective attack of PSVT. Next, sotalol. Sotalol has additional K plus channel blocking property. Thus, it prolongs the duration of action potential. So, it can cause torsades de pointes. Why? Sotalol, torsades de pointes. Why? Means because it can prolong the QT. Why? Means K plus channel blocking activity is there. And also, it maintains sinus rhythm and atrial fibrillation. Sotalol is used for treating life-threatening ventricular tachyarrhythmias. Next, you have class 3 drugs. So potassium channel blockers, you have amiodarone. Iode is there, right? So it's an iodine containing compound structurally related to thyroid hormone. It has a broad spectrum of antiarrhythmic activity. So it blocks the potassium channels. So what happens is it increases the duration of action potential. It prolongs the refractory period, increases duration of both action potential and refractory period, and suppresses the abnormal automaticity. So amiodarone, it blocks the sodium channels in inactivated state and decreases conduction, mainly in partially depolarized tissue. And then it prolongs the refractory period. It also has K plus channel. It also has weak beta blocking and CCB actions. So it decreases heart rate and AV conduction. Okay. Next, you give amiodarone orally. Bioavailability is 30%. So class C, right? Class 3, so 30%. Bioavailability orally, it can be given IV for rapid effect. It accumulates in fat, so thyroid, fat, right? Some muscle, lungs, liver, etc. So it is metabolized in the liver. So it has a broad spectrum of antiarrhythmic actions with low instance of torsades de pointes. It is effective in the treatment of atrial and ventricular arrhythmias. So amiodarone maintains normal sinus rhythm and fibrillation and prevents the recurrent episodes. Next, adverse effects. Remember P, okay? Amiodarone P, pamiodarone. Okay, so peripheral neuropathy, pulmonary fibrosis, photosensitivity, pigmentation of skin, and other than that, you have hypotension, arrhythmias exacerbation, and also corneal deposits in the eye, and hypo and hyperthyroidism. That is why TSH, T3, T4 levels should be monitored during long-term therapy with amiodarone. Next, drug interactions. So A and B, so amiodarone and beta blockers. So what happens is additive depression action is there on the SA node and AV node, leading to block. Next, amiodarone inhibits the renal clearance of digoxin, so it increases serum digoxin levels, and also it increases the concentration of quinidine and procainamide. Next, it also potentiates the anticoagulant effect of warfarin. Amiodarone, anticoagulant of warfarin. Amiodarone war. Okay. Next, amiodarone, quinidine, queen war, right? So quinidine also, it increases the concentration. Proclaimor, it increases the concentration, etc. Next, Ibutylide is a pure potassium channel blocker. It is used in maintaining normal sinus rhythm and atrial fibrillation. Next, calcium channel blockers, you have verapamil. It blocks both activated and inactivated L-type calcium channels, depresses calcium-mediated depolarization. So verapamil decreases conduction velocity and increases refractory period of AV node. So calcium, if you're blocking, means the plateau you're changing. So you're increasing the refractory period and also the conduction velocity. So it is useful in terminating re-entry, so PSVT, and also reducing ventricular rate and flutter and fibrillation, and also decreases ectopic foci. Next, diltiazem effects are similar, but it is less potent than verapamil. What are the miscellaneous agents? So first you have adenosine, which is the drug of choice for rapid control of PSVT. So duration of action is less than 1 minute, rapid IV bolus, okay? Because it is rapidly transported into the RBCs and endothelial cells. So IV adenosine, it binds to adenosine receptors, G protein coupled adenosine receptors, then it activates K plus channels in the atrium, SA node and AV nodes. What happens is there is K plus efflux. So there is hyperpolarization and decreased automaticity, leading to decreased sinus rate. There is slowing of action potential, and there is increase in refractory period. And adenosine also increases calcium currents in the AV node and depresses the AV node. So it's through its action on the AV node, it blocks the re-entry of impulses involving AV node and terminates an attack of PSVT. So it is used in PSVT because of high efficacy, short duration of action, and minimal negative inotropic action. So force of contraction, it does not change. Next, what are the adverse effects? So A, B, C, D, E, F, H, H. So asystole, bronchospasm, chest pain, dyspnea, expensive, flushing, hypotension, headache. Okay. What are the drug interactions? So adenosine and methylxanthines, they Methylxanthines antagonize adenosine. Next, dipyridamole, it inhibits uptake of adenosine. So methylxanthines, dipyridamole. Next, magnesium. IV magnesium sulfate is useful in torsades de pointes. Okay, even though serum magnesium is normal, it can be used in distalis-induced arrhythmias if there is hypomagnesemia. Next, atropine. So it is used in the treatment of bradycardia and AV block. Okay, due to vagal overactivity in distalis toxicity, etc. Next, isoprenaline. It can be used in second degree or complete heart block following acute MI.